Hey guys, Justin here with ExtremeTerrain.com. Today we're taking a closer look at and installing the K&N Blackhawk cold air intake system, available for your 2022 and newer Tundra, powered by the twin turbo 3.4 liter V6. Now you should be checking out the K&N option here if you're looking for a premium, no tune required intake that will help increase the power and sound out of your newer Tundra at home, all while delivering a very unique, very stealthy all black finish. So right out of the gate here, gang, I do want to talk more about the Blackhawk and where it gets its name from. And honestly, you really don't have to look too hard to find out as to why. You can see the entire system, from things like the aluminum intake tubes, to the heat shields, to the filters, and even the clamps themselves have all been finished off in black. Now this is one of a few different offerings from the legendary company K&N for the newer Tundras, and honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, this is my favorite just because of that stealthy, low-key black finish. But outside of appearance, what else can you expect from this particular system? Well, of course, a small bump in power is something we should all look forward to and almost expect when installing an aftermarket intake such as this. And according to K&N, you're gonna be looking at right around 17 horsepower at about 5,000 to 5,200 RPM, which is certainly noteworthy. And keep in mind here, guys, that is without any custom or can tuning, which, by the way, is not needed in order to run the K&N. But power aside, truck owners can also look forward to a few other benefits when bolting up in aftermarket systems such as the Blackhawk here from K&N. Things like a little bit more engine and turbo noise due to the open element or open filter design, better throttle response, and in some rare cases, maybe even some improved fuel economy when you're not stepping on it all the time to hear those filters really scream. Now this is all kind of mentioned in the customer review section, guys. Just don't take my word for it here. But as always, read up on some of those customer submitted reviews. Always a great way to hear from fellow Tundra owners about some of the benefits of installing an intake such as the K&N. But breaking down some of the individual components of the K&N, you will of course receive twin intake tubes here, which we've discussed, in addition to a pair of K&N signature dry flow synthetic filters. Now the dry filters are nice because they don't require as much maintenance as, say, an oiled filter, for instance. But on the flip side, they are gonna maybe require a little bit more frequent cleanings, but you don't have to oil them after the cleaning. That is always nice to point out. Now, aside from the filters here, guys, K&N does include the twin heat shield design here. That does include some weather stripping to help seal to the underside of your hood, block out some of that hot engine bay air. And then lastly, just expect all of your hardware, couplers, and clamps, as you can see here again, all done in black, everything needed for the installation. Last but not least, guys, K&N is really solid. They stand behind their product 100%, and to prove it to you, they do back each one of their systems with their limited lifetime warranty. But getting into our pricing segment here, guys, the Blackhawk is gonna land you right around 600 bucks, give or take, which I would say puts it right in line, honestly, with most of the other aftermarket systems in the category for the new twin turbo Tundra, including stuff like AFE, in addition to other options from K&N. So if you're looking to add an aftermarket system for your Tundra at this time, just expect to be in or around that $600 area. All right, guys, last but not least, let's talk install here. And I will say installing a cold air is certainly gonna be one of the easier mods you'll ever tackle on your Tundra at home. So therefore, just figure very soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. And the site calls us about 3 hours to complete from start to finish. But you know, if you hustle through it, maybe you get it done a little bit sooner. Either way, to give you a better idea of what you're in for in the garage or driveway, let's throw it out to the guys in the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, long and short extensions, 8 and 10 millimeter sockets, a clip removal tool, 3 and 4 millimeter Allen wrenches, angle cutters, a tape measure, and Phillips head screwdriver. And lastly, not shown here, is super glue. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing an intake on our Tundra, so let's get started. So now we've come under our hood, and to get started on removing our intake, we're going to go ahead and pop this clip off holding our MAP sensor wire on our stock air box here. And then we're gonna go ahead and unplug our MAP sensor itself. So we're gonna grab our clip removal tool, pop that off, and then unplug the sensor. And we're just gonna press in on our tab here and pull our MAP sensor connector out. And go ahead and pull that back like so. just so it's out of the way. Might flop back around, that's okay. Get it hooked on here. Next, we're gonna loosen the two clamps on our upper intake tube and then go ahead and release our upper air box here so we can go ahead and remove all this. So we'll grab our 10 mil socket on our ratchet and go ahead and loosen those up, unclip our box, and then pull this out. Loosen up our clamps, we'll go ahead and unclip our air box. We'll go ahead, pull this out. And we got that out. We'll go ahead and pull our filter as well and set this all aside. Now our lower air box here is just held in by a couple rubber grommets. So we're just gonna go ahead and give that a firm pull up and go ahead and pull this out. Next, we're gonna go ahead and remove our turbo inlet pipe. So first, we're gonna remove the clamp and remove the PCV hose from the PCV fitting here. And then underneath that is a 10 millimeter mounting screw holding it in place, as well as the clamp that is on it. So for those two, we'll grab our 10 mil socket on our ratchet and go ahead and pop those off. So we'll start with our clamp on our PCV hose. It's a little bit tight quarters in here, but you can rotate this to make it a little bit easier. Try not to lose your clamp. Once we have that off, go ahead and remove our 10 millimeter mounting screw. And we'll go ahead and loosen our clamp up. Now we can go ahead and pop this off. And this is the location for your turbo inlet pipe mounting screw that was underneath the PCV hose. That is the 10 millimeter. So once you have everything off for this side, you can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. So before we can go onto the truck with our new intake, there's a couple things we're gonna need to do. First of which is to swap over the mass airflow sensors from our factory intakes to our new setup. So we're gonna grab a Phillips head screwdriver, pull these mass airflow sensors out of our stock intakes, and swap them over to our new intake tubes. So you want to be very gentle when pulling these out of your factory setup, just because they are pretty sensitive, pretty expensive sensors. And then we're going to match that up. So it's going to be coming this way. And we're going to go ahead, slot that right into our new one. Set that in place. Now we're going to secure this down to our new intake tube with our provided 3 millimeter Allen head screws. Go ahead and get these started. Then we'll take our 3 millimeter Allen wrench and tighten these down. Next, we're going to go ahead and install our provided air straighteners with our tubes. Now, you are supposed to super glue these with a couple dabs on the back edge here. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to super glue ours on, but we'll go ahead and insert these directly 90 degrees to where our sensor is. So our sensor is straight up and down. You want this to face exactly 90 degrees from that. We'll go ahead and slide that in, just like so. So now we're going to go ahead and install our filter adapter to our heat shield here. We'll go ahead and slide that through. Line our bolt holes up. Then we're going to grab our 4 millimeter Allen head bolts with a lock washer and flat washer on each. And then we can go ahead and tighten those down with our 4 millimeter Allen wrench. So now we're going to grab our provided weather stripping for our heat shield, and we're going to cut that down to the appropriate lengths we need. So we have our passenger side here, and we're going to cut that down to 49 3/4 and then a 12-inch section. So we'll grab our tape measure here and measure out that first segment. Try to keep this as straight as possible. So we're at 49 3/4. We're going to grab our angle cutters, trim that off. Then that leaves us with just about a foot left. So now we can install our weather stripping to our heat shield, and it has this little groove at the bottom of it. We're just going to slip that onto our heat shield around the perimeter and run it around. And for our smaller section, that's going to go right into here. Now this corner inside here is admittedly going to be a little bit tough to get it all the way in. If you just snug it up as best you can, it'll be just fine. So once you have this all prepped, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we're ready to go on to the truck, and the first thing we're going to do is grab our provided couplers for our turbo inlet tubes. And we're going to go ahead and stick that on there, as well as one of our provided clamps. So we'll slide our clamp onto our coupler first, and then we'll go ahead and get that onto the turbo inlet tube. Go ahead and get this on. Then we're going to grab our 8mm socket on our ratchet and go ahead and tighten our clamp down. So before we can mount our new heat shield, we're going to need to remove these two factory mounting nuts for our airbox. So we've got our 10mm socket here and long extension on our impact. We'll go ahead and pop these off. So now we can install our new heat shield. So we're going to line our two mounting holes up with where those factory mounting studs came out, and then we're going to replace those with our two 10mm bolt lock washers and flat washers to go ahead and secure this in place. This may be a bit of a snug fit down here, but it will go. We'll get our first one lined up here. Go ahead and get that new mounting screw in place. We'll go ahead and run that one in, again with our 10mm socket and extension on our impact. And we're not going to fully tighten this yet. Now this next one is going to be very hard to see, but it is the upper mounting stud that we took out that is directly between our fuse block and our new heat shield, and there's a tab right above it. So we're going to go ahead and get the other 10mm screw with a lock washer and flat washer in place there. Now that we have that one in, we'll go ahead and fully tighten both of these down. So now we can go ahead and install our provided hump coupler along with our provided clamp. So we'll slide that clamp onto our coupler and then go ahead and install that on the back side of our filter adapter. Then we'll take our 8mm socket on our ratchet and tighten that down. Now it's time to install our new intake tube. So we're going to grab another one of our provided clamps. Go ahead and get that onto our coupler. Now we can install our other clamp onto our other end of our hump coupler here. And we're going to take our intake tube and get it into our turbo inlet first, and then into our heat shield side after that. may have to work this coupler around your intake tube a little bit here. I'll go ahead and get that properly seated. Now once we have this seated in here, we'll go ahead and tighten down both of those clamps with our 8mm socket, and then we'll get our PVC hose reattached to the fitting on our new intake tube, and then plug our mass airflow sensor back in. Now we can attach our PCV hose to the new fitting on our intake tube. Now this one is pretty much directly on the bottom of where our intake tube is facing. So it's kind of hard to see, but if you feel for it right underneath here, it is pretty much directly below it. So we'll go ahead and get that hose on there. Make sure that seat's good. And then we're gonna reuse that factory pinch clamp to secure it. So now we can go ahead and plug our MAP sensor back in. Just take that connector, snap that back into place. Now you won't have a spot for this hook here, but that's okay. It's really not going to be in the way or anything like that. Now we can go ahead and install our filter to our adapter. So we've got our filter and our provided clamp. Go ahead and slide that on. Then we'll go ahead and place our filter on our filter adapter. Slide that in place. Then again, with our 8mm socket on our ratchet, we'll go ahead and tighten that clamp down. Now once you have everything done for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for your other intake. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our K&N Blackhawk cold air intake for your 22 to current Tundra. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Tundra, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.